Listen, not everybody is gonna see your worth. Not everybody is gonna treat you in the way that you deserve. But I will tell you this, that regardless of how people see you, what matters most is how you see yourself. Do you know that you're valuable? Do you know that your worth exists beyond the compliments? Because it's knowing this that protects and maintains your identity. People will come into your life with all kinds of perspectives, and they will treat you based on how they see you. But it is not your job to fit someone else's narrative. It is not your job to conform to how people see or treat you. You are independent from anyone else's opinion, comment, or perspective. Your value comes from a place of truth. Your value comes from an authentic place within. So don't ever let how someone treats you define you. Remember who you are and remember that you are valuable, regardless of who sees it. Hey y'all, it's your girl Abby and I am back with another video. I'm not even gonna waste time doing this intro because I wanna get into this topic of self-confidence and knowing your worth from a place within and why you need to have it from Monday through Sunday. Do you know what that means? You need to have it from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And so let's get into it. The way that people see you does not define you. The way that people treat you does not define you. People will come in our life and they will treat us the way that they see fit, right? They are not gonna treat us according to who we are. This is why it's important to know who you are, because people are gonna come into your life and treat you how they see you. I might not be everybody's cup of tea. I might not be everybody's flavor of choice, but I am valuable, but I do have flavor. I do have spice. I do have something good. You know what I mean? It might not be what you like. It might not be what you favor, but there is someone out there that is going to favor and like what I got, right? And so we can't let the perception that people have of us define who we are, because it's a never-ending road. It's a never-ending road of pleasing people that have nothing to do with us, right? You gotta be you. You gotta be 110% you so that the people that see you, right? And going back to the flavors, people that see you and like the flavor that you got, they are gonna come to you, right? But if you're constantly changing who you are, trying to please and fit into spaces, you don't even know who you are, right? And inevitably that comes with a lack of confidence because you don't know who you are. No one likes to operate as a, what is it? You know the game? Simon Says. Nobody wants to operate as Simon Says. No one wants to shapeshift into every room. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel authentic, right? And so we have to know that like who we are in our essence is valuable. Who we were created to be does have value regardless of who sees it. And so knowing that allows me to show up and walk into every room with my chest in front, my shoulders back, my head held high, because I know who I am. I know that this room does not define me. I know that I can walk into this room and be me, and not everybody is going to love me. Not everybody is going to see my value, but it still exists regardless of if you see it or not. It still exists regardless of you think it's valuable or not. I know that I was created from a God that is powerful and loving. I know that he put me in this room. I know that he put me in this world for a reason. And so regardless of if you see that reason or not, I am valuable. Regardless of if you see my value and my purpose, not everybody is going to see it, but you can let it define you. Not everybody is going to see the ideas that you have. Not everybody is going to see what you are trying to do. This spills off, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about confidence, but it applies to other things, right? To the people that got dreams and ideas. Not everybody is going to see the idea and the vision that you have. But let me tell you, that does not mean that the vision and the idea is not valuable. You gotta get your confidence from within. You gotta have a certain level of faith to bring anything into fruition, right? When we're talking about dreams and ideas, right? You gotta know, right? Root yourself in what you know to be true. I think a lot of times we operate in a space of not being confident in ourselves and in what we're doing in this life because we're not standing on a solid foundation. We don't know what we're standing on. Is this really a good idea? Am I really valuable? Right? Like we're questioning it because the foundation we're standing on is not very sturdy, right? And so what does that mean? That means it's not a matter of filling ourselves with affirmations. I am valuable. I am this. I am that. Now, although that is, sometimes we need the reminder, okay? Sometimes we need the reminder, but it's not a matter of pouring into ourselves, but actually looking and saying, what am I standing on? What foundation is carrying me? Is this a solid ground or is it rocky? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about a pond, okay? Think about a pond and it's winter and it's frozen and you're walking. You need to get from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake and it's frozen, right? If that frozen lake is not solid, if that frozen lake is not thick, that it can hold your weight, what's gonna happen? You are going to fall into the ice cold water. You are going to freeze. Mama, you're not gonna make it to the other side, right? And so what does your foundation look like? Is it sturdy? Does it have enough depth to carry your weight, right? We gotta start asking these questions, right? Because a lot of our confidence in knowing all these things, everything we just talked about, in order to get to that point, we gotta go to the root of it. What is our foundation looking like? And if our foundation is thin and we notice that there are cracks in it, maybe we don't truly believe that we're worthy, maybe we don't truly see the worth within ourselves, we gotta go back, we gotta take a couple steps back and say, okay, let me build the foundation. It's not about putting on, you know what I'm saying, what looks good, what sounds good. Let me just put myself together so I feel good. These things are instrumental. These things can give us a little pick-me-up when we need it. It's important. I'm not, talking down on it. But when we want the confidence, to be able to walk into a room not looking our best, right? Not, feeling 100%, but still having that confidence, right? That's the goal. The goal is to not be perfect, but even in our imperfection, to still know that we're valuable, right? And in order to get to that point where you can walk in rooms not 100%, but still know deep down that you're okay, right? In order to get to that point, we got to look at our foundation. How do I genuinely feel about myself, right? How do I actually view myself? Do I think that I'm valuable? Do I think that I'm worthy? And where does that worth and value come from? Start to lay the bricks of that foundation. Start to lay the bricks of that foundation so you can build a foundation that is not only thick, but that has depths and is sturdy and that can hold your weight. Because let me tell you something, you are going to need that foundation that holds your weight as you go through life. And as you go through life, you get bigger and stronger. And so the foundation of things needs to also get bigger and stronger, and it's to be able to carry you as you grow and evolve through life. But you can't do that if the foundation is not there, if it's not built. And so it's going back to the root of things. What does God say about me? It's understanding it and believing it, right? And that takes time. It's not overnight. It's not that you read one scripture or you read one thing and it's like, oh yeah, now I see it, right? It takes trials and tribulations of being in these moments, right? Being in these moments where you feel insecure. Maybe when you get into a relationship and you're not valued in that relationship, you start to look at yourself different. They don't really see who I am. That means I'm not who I am. That means I'm not, that girl. I'm not that person, right? We get in relationships and friendships that make us question our worth, right? And so it's in those relationships, filling yourself with the truth, so that over time, it becomes a part of who you are. Over time, it becomes just second nature to you. You cannot conform, and it is not your responsibility to conform to how people see you, right? You cannot conform to how people see you. People are going to see you in whatever way that they see themselves. That's the deeper thing to it, right? Is people see you the way that they see themselves. And so if they don't value themselves, they're not going to value you. If they don't care for themselves, they're not going to care for you. People are only looking at self, and that's how you treat other people. But not everybody cares for themselves. Not everybody loves themselves, right? Look at the way that people are living their life, right? Do they treat themselves with love? Do they treat themselves with discipline? Do they have discipline in their life? Right? Do they extend kindness? Are these like the standards that they have for their life? If not, how can you expect them to treat you in that way? People are going to treat you the way that they see themselves. And so you need to look at people and see how they treat themselves, how they lead their life. Is it with kindness? Is it with love? Is it with self-discipline? Do they have an optimistic look at life? Do they have hope in their life? Right? If not, why would you expect that they would treat you in that way? Right? And these things are all things that we would want to have in our life. right? And so it's up to us to fill ourselves with these things so that it doesn't matter who comes in our life and treats us this way. We know the truth and we know the way that we should be treated. We know our worth and what we deserve. And so when it doesn't match, goodbye. When it doesn't align, I deserve better. Catch you later. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of having this mentality of like knowing your worth and knowing what you deserve, but also being able to communicate it in a way that is loving. So now that we've got to the point where we recognize who we are, we know our value, we know our worth, how do we now communicate that to other people? Let's talk about it. If you have a pen or paper, like actually write down how you want to go about communicating your worth to others. Because I can say for myself, I may know my worth. I may stand on a solid and thick ground of foundational beliefs, but how I communicate that is a whole different game. How I communicate that to other people has to have a skill. We can't come to people with energy. I am worthy. I am this. Just an angry, prickly bear, right? We've got to have a way of communicating with kindness. Good communication is kind. Good communication is kind. It isn't aggressive and in your face. It isn't angry, right? Good communication is confident. And so it doesn't need to be loud and it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to come with all that energy. It's rooted in something that's true. And so it can be subtle. It can be quiet. Good communication has boundaries. Communication with boundaries looks like saying what it is you have to say, setting your boundaries. Now, setting a boundary is not saying, treat me this way, you must. Treat me this way or else, right? Our boundaries are not to push people away, but to actually keep them closer. And so it's saying, I know that I am valuable. I know that God has created me with a lot of talents and a lot of skills. I'm not perfect. I am far from perfect, but I know that I am valuable and I want you to treat me in this way. I want you to see my value and respect me. I need you to do that because if you don't treat me in this way, it doesn't allow me to show up fully. And so I can't afford to lose myself. I can't afford to not show up in this world fully me. I know that I got a purpose. I know that I'm here for a reason. God can't use me if I'm not me. I know all these things, right? These are the things that we got to fill ourselves with that we're not necessarily saying to other people, but that we know. And so our boundary is, I need you to act in accordance. I need you to. Not so that it pleases me, not so that I feel good about myself, but so that I can actually be myself. And so this is not a matter of me feeling good. This is a matter of me being able to be me. In order for me to be me, I need you to respect me. In order for me to be me, I need you to be kind. In order for me to be me, I need you to just have a little bit of patience with me. And if you don't, I can't afford to lose me. If you don't, I can't put you completely before me. Not in every situation and not 100%. And so this is my boundary and this is what I have to stick to, right? And having a boundary, having good boundaries is actually saying what your boundary is and then acting on it, right? That's the difficult part. Sometimes we have boundaries, but we don't actually act on them, right? And so when people don't act in accordance with our boundaries, we've actually got to step back. We've actually got to move away from the situation, right? And so it's important to make sure that your boundaries are ones that are allowing people to come in closer, that are not pushing people away, right? Because our boundaries are good. Our boundaries are good. We want people to come closer. We want people to be in our life, but we don't want to break and bend a part of ourselves or break and bend vital parts of ourselves for the sake of other people. And so your boundary is to bring people closer, not to push them away. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you recognize who you are and know that regardless of who comes into your life and how they treat you, it is not a reflection of who you are. Who you are is based on what God says about you. Who you are is based on why you are here, okay? And we are all here with a purpose. We are all here for a reason. And so you are valuable just by fact, just by way of being here and being alive. And so don't let anyone confuse you, and don't let anyone let you doubt who you are. Build your foundation of who you are. Build it so strong and so firm that it doesn't matter who comes on there stomping and causing a ruckus. It doesn't matter. You know who you are and you stand on a foundation that is firm. That is my wish for all of you. Now, some practical things that I will just give you before we head out is actually take out your journal and write down 3 things that you know 110% that you are, right? And if you're looking for things to, kind of write, oh, well, I don't know who I am. I don't know. Maybe these are just based on my opinion, right? Go to the word, go to the scripture, or maybe I'll put some here, right? Of who you are. God says that you are valuable. I'm going to put in some scripture here of what God says that you are so that you know, so that you never forget, okay? Don't let other people and their perspective you define who you are. You gotta have your value from within. Your value's gotta come from an internal space. Know who you are. You're valuable. You're worthy. You gotta know that so you show up. You gotta have boundaries enough so that you can show up fully in who you were created to be. Okay? I love you, and don't ever forget that. I'm going to see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being here. Honestly, this community is growing. This community is growing. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for every single one of you that are watching. I love you. I love you for real. But until next time, I'll see you guys in another one. Peace for now.